Our generation has a problem with the difference between the difficulty in doing a thing and evaluating whether or not that thing is worthwhile, meaningful, helpful, salubrious, morally good. Difficulty has absolutely nothing to do with whether or not a given action, program, or goal is actually worthwhile. And I was reminded of this strange habit of mind I feel my whole generation is caught up in. When numerous people were writing to me saying that no, I failed to appreciate how meaningful and good a use of their time it was as adults to play video games for hundreds of hours. Because I haven't tried these video games, I don't realize how difficult they are. So if it's complicated, if it's hard to do, it must be meaningful and it must be good, right? And by the same token, our generation really ignores the most important virtue because it's simple and it's easy. And that's honesty. Honesty in and of itself is not hard to practice. But honesty, for example, is incompatible with flattery. Had a female friend talking to me just a couple days ago, and she's known me for years. And she said to me, I'm paraphrasing, I'm not going to use exactly the words that she said. She basically said to me that it was kind of a problem for her that I never told her that she was beautiful. I think it was a problem for her about 4 years ago, and I think it's still kind of a problem for her now. And I want to make this clear. This is not a situation in which I'm in any way intentionally manipulating her. This is not a situation in which I'm like trying to give her low self-esteem. And you know what I said to her, and you'll see why I'm saying this to you now, was, look, that's not who you are to me, okay? I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to flatter you. I'm not going to manipulate you. And if that hurts your feelings, I'm sorry. Like, I really am. I can apologize for hurting your feelings, but I'm not going to lie to you, and I'm not going to lie to myself. And I hope that you can take some kind of reassurance from that in the future. That, you know, in this friendship, as time goes on, if I tell you something positive, it's not flattery. I really mean it, and if I tell you something negative, you can take it seriously. And I know that people have convinced themselves that it's a virtue to go through life telling everyone that they're beautiful all the time. And what slips away is exactly this simple, easy concept of honesty that only becomes difficult to live with when we realize in practice it's not compatible with flattery. It's not compatible with a 21st century culture that wants to pretend that human equality means that everyone has an equally beautiful face, or that everyone can do the same number of push-ups, or that everyone can lift the same amount of weight. That's not what equality means. That's not what it ever meant. That's not what it meant in the French Revolution, and it's not what it meant in the American Civil War, okay? Human equality is about the equality of political rights and responsibilities. It doesn't mean that everyone has the same face. It doesn't mean that everyone has the same strength or that their beauty is valued equally. What it means is that when you go to City Hall, when you go to Parliament, when you go to Congress, or when you go to court, you won't be judged on how pretty your face is. Your ability to vote, your ability to have a voice, your ability to determine the future of your government or nation state, that those rights should not be accorded to you unequally because of these arbitrary inequalities that we all live with. It doesn't mean those arbitrary qualities don't exist. We all get to share one and the same standard for rights and responsibilities. We don't have the same face, and we don't all get to wear the same mask. It's coming back to this intimate and immediate human scale, all right? This female friend of mine, I'm not joking, I did apologize to her. I said, look, I know this hurts you, okay? I know this has hurt your feelings. I apologize. And it apparently hurt her feelings 4 years ago, or had some impact on her then, and it impacts now, and it's a friendship that's now gone on for many years, okay? I said to her, when you first met me years ago, I knew some women who were models working in the modeling industry. They looked like models. I knew some women who were athletes, whether those be personal trainers at the gym or the type of people you meet and talk with on the internet, or various kinds of athletes. I knew some women who were lawyers and professors and doctors and various walks of life. And you weren't any of those, okay? That's not who you are to me, right? I knew women, I still know some now, not really. I'm not talking to anyone like at the moment. I knew some women who put photographs of themselves in bikinis on the internet, and where that's a big part of their career and their identity, and that's what they look like, and that's what they are. And that's not who you are to me. That's not how I think of you. I don't think of you as someone who I got to know or got interested in or liked because you were beautiful. Okay? And then I said, and now here's who you are to me, positively. Here's what I liked about you. Here's what interested me. Here's what made me want to get to know you better. Here's what made me feel some kind of trust or curiosity or interest in you, and to see where this is going to go. All right? And guess what? It has absolutely nothing to do with the way that you look. And if you get insulted by that, if you feel like that's a bad thing, maybe all of us need to stop and reflect a little bit on the real consequences of this culture, in which men, and only men, are trained to go around lying and telling everyone that they're beautiful, that they're thin, that they're fit, all the time. Where this behavior is expected of men, and it's not expected of women, right? If we flip that around, if you're a man in the audience, if you ask yourself, would you benefit as a man from living in a culture where you got nothing but positive feedback all the time, that had nothing to do with your real appearance, with your real physique, with your real fitness, even with your real style of dress, or with your real intelligence, or your real accomplishments? How would that benefit you as a man? That would only encourage you to engage in wishful thinking or self-deception, so on and so forth, right? It's hard to see how that could have a positive impact on anything. It wouldn't even be positive for your so-called self-esteem. Flattery is corrupting, both to the person who's flattered and to the person who's telling the lie. And I do think, in its little subtle way, this, I don't know, it's weakened our whole generation and has put us in situations like this one, where people, sometimes in this case, someone who knows me personally, and sometimes members of the audience, write into me with a sense of outrage, saying, what do you mean you don't think all these women are beautiful? What do you mean you don't think we should give compliments to women? And the expectation there, maybe it's tainted also by the flip side of this, of people like pickup artists and dating coaches trying to commercialize and make money out of teaching you how to be a better flatterer, how to be more manipulative when you flatter people, how to tell women that they're beautiful with these other outcomes, and so on and so forth, right? And then that becomes pervasive enough that when I say, hey, look, I don't lie to people one way or the other. I really keep it real with everyone. In my intimate life, in my personal life, and here on YouTube, I'm honest about this all the time. Not everyone gets to be a model. Not everyone gets to be an actor or an actress. You know, this is an aspect of arbitrary inequality we all have to live with one way or the other. So let's try to live with it constructively. Let's try to face up with it and work with what we've got and not lie to ourselves and others. I think a lot of people in the audience, the people who wrote into me to complain, they're so deeply conditioned to regard this as like a strategy, as like a PUA technique, like a pickup artist technique, like, oh, like you're trying to lower someone's self-esteem and make them feel bad. And no, I'm not. You know, I'm trying to have personal integrity in everything in my life, right? I don't see how it could possibly be that personal integrity is something you think only matters at the bank, at the office, in your profession, and that somehow it matters less with your personal friends and your lovers. If you have a friend who wants to be a stand-up comedian and they're telling jokes, their night at the Improv, when they go to the open mic night, they go to the audition, and nobody laughs, what's your role as a friend? Should you lie to them and say, oh, no, your jokes were really funny. I was laughing. I thought it was just a bad audience. Should you make up every excuse under the sun for why their jokes weren't funny when you personally don't think they're funny? You didn't laugh. Are you going to lie to your friend and tell them they're hilarious? Is that going to help them progress? What are the real impacts, short-term and long-term, of your lack of integrity? Right? Can't we be honest with one another? Sure, about our appearances, about our talents, about our aspirations. And if we can't practice honesty, integrity on this intimate scale, one-to-one, how is your friend going to become a better comedian? How are any of us going to make better choices, right? About that strange, uncertain road toward leading a meaningful life, all right? I deeply, deeply resent the fact that so many jobs in our society are hired on the basis of physical appearance. I think that's a profound problem none of us have really yet begun to grapple with, and it's going to be a problem that ultimately has a legislated solution. I don't think that waiters and waitresses or the people who stand at the front of the bank when you go to do your banking, I don't think any of those jobs should be hired on the basis of physical appearance. I don't even think the people who read the news on TV should be hired on the basis of their appearance. I wish we had much more intelligent, well-informed, well-educated people talking about politics on television, and if they were hideously ugly, wouldn't matter to me in the least. That'd be a great improvement. I'd say, well, this person's ugly, but at least they know politics or economics or history or something. We live in a society where it seems like the bimbos who read the teleprompters have reinvented the earth in their own image, where Instagram has gobbled up more and more of the intellectual and cultural space and gradually has transformed people's attitudes to being entirely about this surface level evaluation of humanity. And even let's stick with the example of the stand-up comedian. If you're hilarious and you can tell good jokes, I hope it isn't too important if you happen to be ugly or fat or out of shape or whatever the case may be. And hey, maybe comedy is the last area where really ugly people can get ahead. I don't know. Maybe that's finally where the flattery stops. It's a problem we all have to deal with. But the solution cannot be living a lie. The solution cannot be propounding an ideology that each and every one of us is beautiful, that all of us are wearing the same hat, that all of us share the same face, or that all of us wear the same mask. And I'd ask you to stop and reflect on the most intimate relationships in your life and the most impersonal relationships here on the internet. To what extent has that habit of flattery corrupted even you?